You like to believe you're rational. You believe you weigh evidence. You believe you think before you act. You believe logic guides your decisions. But that belief itself is often emotional. Because the truth is this: emotion almost always moves first. Reason follows. Every time. Before you justify. Before you explain. Before you decide. Your emotional brain has already tilted the scale. To understand why, we have to look at how the brain is structured. The emotional systems, especially those responsible for threat detection, reward anticipation, and social belonging, operate faster than the regions responsible for analytical thinking. Emotional processing happens in fractions of a second. Logical reasoning takes longer. It requires energy. It requires effort. Emotion is immediate. Reason is expensive. And your brain is wired for efficiency and survival, not philosophical accuracy. Imagine this. You're in a meeting at work. You present an idea. A colleague frowns slightly and says, "I'm not sure that will work." Instantly, something tightens in your chest. Your heart rate shifts. A flash of defensiveness rises. You feel dismissed. Notice what happened. You didn't analyze tone, context, or data first. You felt first. And within seconds, your mind begins building a case. They don't respect me. They always undermine me. I need to push back. Your reasoning brain doesn't question the emotional reaction. It defends it. It becomes the lawyer for the feeling that already decided the verdict. This is one of the most misunderstood dynamics of human psychology. Reason is often a justification system, not a decision system. When an emotion activates, especially fear, anger, shame, or desire, it alters perception itself. It changes what you notice. It changes how you interpret ambiguity. It changes which memories become accessible. It even changes how certain you feel. Emotions don't just color your thinking. They filter it. Fear narrows attention toward threat. Anger searches for blame. Shame looks for evidence of inadequacy. Desire exaggerates reward and minimizes risk. And because these states feel urgent, they feel true. Let's take another example. You're scrolling online late at night. You see something that triggers you, a political comment, a controversial opinion, a criticism of something you identify with. Before you consciously process the argument, you feel it. A spike of anger, a rush of adrenaline. Your body reacts before your analysis does. Now your reasoning begins, but it's no longer neutral. It's aligned with the emotional surge. You search for counterarguments. You recall articles that support your stance. You dismiss opposing evidence faster. Your mind becomes a weapon, not a judge. This is why debates rarely change minds. Because most positions are emotionally anchored first. Once emotion binds to identity, reason becomes protective. The brain evolved this way for survival. If early humans paused to logically evaluate every rustle in the grass, they might not survive the predator. Emotional shortcuts kept our ancestors alive. The problem is that modern threats are rarely immediate physical dangers. They are social, psychological, abstract. But your nervous system reacts as if reputation loss equals death, as if disagreement equals exile, as if uncertainty equals danger. And when emotional intensity rises, activity in the brain's threat circuitry increases, while the regions responsible for complex reasoning temporarily lose efficiency. In other words, strong emotion literally reduces cognitive flexibility. You've experienced this. Think about an argument you regret. In the moment, your words felt justified. You were certain. You had reasons. But hours later, when calm returned, clarity followed. You wondered why you reacted so strongly, why you escalated, why you said what you said. Nothing about the external facts changed. Only your emotional state did. Emotion doesn't just influence decisions, it changes what seems reasonable. Another everyday example, impulse buying. You walk into a store with no intention of purchasing anything significant. Then you see it, something you've been wanting. A rush of excitement hits. Your brain anticipates reward. Dopamine rises. Suddenly the price feels manageable. The purchase feels deserved. You start constructing logic. I've worked hard. It's an investment. I won't spend much this month anyway. Later, when the excitement fades, the reasoning looks weaker. But in the emotional state, it felt airtight. Desire bent logic. This is not weakness. It's architecture. Emotions are not obstacles to reasoning. They are the foundation beneath it. They signal importance. They prioritize information. They motivate action. Without emotion, you would struggle to choose at all. People with impaired emotional processing often find decision-making extremely difficult. Not because they lack intelligence, but because nothing feels more valuable than anything else. Emotion gives weight. Reason gives explanation. The danger appears when we mistake emotional certainty for objective truth. When anger feels like righteousness. When fear feels like foresight. When jealousy feels like intuition. When shame feels like identity. The override happens because emotion speaks in urgency, and urgency feels convincing. So what can you do? The goal is not to suppress emotion. That rarely works and often backfires. The goal is to recognize sequence. Emotion first, reason second. When you notice that order, you create space. Instead of saying, "This is wrong," you can say, "I feel angry." Instead of, "This will fail," you can say, "I feel afraid." Instead of, "They don't respect me," you can say, "I feel threatened." That subtle shift separates emotion from conclusion, and that separation restores flexibility. The next time you feel overwhelmingly certain about something in a heated moment, pause. Ask, what emotion is driving this certainty? What would this look like if I were calm? Often, clarity returns when intensity decreases. Emotions override reason because they evolve to act fast. But awareness evolves slower and stronger. When you learn to observe the surge without immediately obeying it, you don't eliminate emotion. You integrate it. Emotion becomes information. Reason becomes guidance. And for the first time, the two begin to cooperate instead of compete. Because the real power is not becoming emotionless. It's becoming aware of when emotion is steering the wheel, and choosing deliberately when to take control.